Representative Hahn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for coming out and having your testimony today. I appreciate it. I'd like to commend you on the youth mentoring program. My grandson went hunting for the first time this year, and he found out it wasn't nearly as easy to go hunting as it is to sit there and bag something on his video game. So I think that was a good experience for him, and he had to learn about nature and about the wildlife, and I think that's great. I had a question. You know, we've heard from a lot of people who are unhappy with the current antler restrictions. Many who just want to be able to bag a buck, any buck, especially in this time with lower deer numbers overall. I understand the board approved a new 3-up provision for some of the areas, and can you tell us more about that, and are there any changes or adjustments planned in that regard?
Great question, because that's going to be one of our really public information programs this year to work on that 3-up if it's finally approved in April. Generally, on our deer surveys, we have about 65 to 68% of the people enjoy antler restrictions. I get a lot of. I'm a glutton for punishment, so I spend both weekends at the Eastern Sports Show and engage a lot of hunters there, as well as speaking to a lot of sportsmen's group. I know I've been to your area several times, and for the most part, people like the antler restrictions. What we've seen in the western part of the states in those wildlife management units where we had a 4-point requirement in the past, which included the brow tine. Over time, we've seen deer get more mature, but not develop that brow tine in some places. So we think that 3-up, meaning 3-up on the main beam. That's not 2-up in a brow tine, but 3 on the main beam. For those of us who hunt know what that means, and the hunters that know what that means, we think we'll be okay. Because the purpose of the antler restrictions was to move our deer herd into an older class. Prior to antler restrictions, we were taking about 80%. Where's the cow? I lost it. About 80% of our yearling deer. Prior to antler restrictions, somewhere through there. This last year, we only took 49% of our yearling deer as a result of antler restrictions, which means we're moving them into an older age class for a variety of reasons. So we think in the western part of the western part of the state, that 3-up will be okay, because we still think most of those deer will be beyond a year and a half. We're going to monitor it for about 3 years, and because we check about 28,000 to 30,000 deer in processors every year, so we'll be able to look at that 3-up and be able to age the deer. And if we see we're starting to drift down to that yearling class again, we'll relook at that 3-up rule. But if we think we'll be okay for the most part, that it won't have a significant impact on the yearling take.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.